Hi, you don't know me. I'm Lee, and I'm a long-term free trial player in Final Fantasy XIV, and by long-term, I mean well over 2,000 game hours. Before you ask, I want to sub and plan to eventually, but after this much time, I have some things to see through before I finally put down money. This is, of course, a stupid challenge, but it gives me a rarer perspective on FF14. And we can all use more high-quality free experiences these days. I'm sure Square Enix never intended for players like me to exist, but I will be a free sprout for some time to come. So even though the latest expansion just came out, let me tell you about life as a long-term player of the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV free trial, which includes the entirety of A Realm Reborn, the award-winning Heavensward, and Stormblood expansions up to level 70 with no restrictions on playtime. Funny story of me being stupid to start. I managed to blind pick a Portuguese-speaking homeworld, and you cannot change homeworlds on the free trial, which is unfortunate because I do not speak Portuguese. This has only affected the Novice Network, the chat channel for sprouts, new players, flowers, returning players, and mentors. I have yet to enter a duty where English was not the only language in chat, but my homeworld Novice Network is roughly 40% Portuguese. If you plan on being a long-term trial player, research your home world, since most worlds have different communities. As for other free trial restrictions, no market board, no making your own party, no solo unsync, no whisper, no free company, no shout, 300,000 gil cap, no housing, no retainers, and no player trading are the most noticeable limits. You are essentially a ghost that can occasionally talk to other people. I'm sure I'd accomplish my goals faster without these limits, but I am stubborn. Now, into the game. The character creator was already sufficient for me, but Dawn Trail overhauled all things visual, so making my very original heterochromia blue-haired catgirl is different now. Final Fantasy XIV, free trial or subbed, lets you play every class/job on one character, which I love. Some classes are locked behind expansions and levels, but the free trial has access to content and jobs in A Realm Reborn, Heavensward, and Stormblood. My first job was Arcanist, and Scholar became my main along with Warrior and Red Mage. But it's a long journey ahead, and that free journey starts with ARR, your starting city, and many tooltips. ARR involves a lot of reading, sometimes with a written accent, depending on your starting city. This video will stay spoiler-free, and I have no idea what happens after Stormblood, as that's where the trial ends, but I can see the improvements with each expansion. Now for a controversial take, I like the story of Stormblood more than Heavensward, but that's as much of the story as I'm going to cover here. So, a main job carries you to the end of the MSQ, level up to the 70 cap, pick a new job and repeat until you're out of free trial jobs. What do you do now? There's still much to do while staying free to play. Let me explain the notable pursuits that make a Giga Sprout. If you want to click off here, TLDR, while there's a lot to do, only a little is truly hard, but many long-term free trial grinds take more time and patience than pure gamer skill. The Gold Saucer is a mainstay in Final Fantasy, and there's plenty to do in 14th's version. Breed your own racing chicken, enter lotteries, play TFT but older, Triple Triad, Mahjong, and participate in limited-time events, all to win casino currency. This limited currency has a few achievements tied to amassing it, mainly some costly mounts. Some Grand Company items can boost your winnings, but fashion is one of the most stable ways to make big bucks. The weekly fashion report contest can net you 60k for very little work. The community makes this even more accessible by posting weekly guides. 100 points is often not possible on free trial, but 80 points always is, even if some weeks are easier than others. By late game free trial, you have access to everything you need, but the time investment is different depending on how much you hoard as you go. I managed to farm 4 million Gold Saucer points, which all went to a single mount, and I want at least another 4 million worth of redeemable prizes. Be fashionable, it's profitable and helps set you apart since some of the Heavensward and Stormblood late-game crafting items are somewhat rare to see these days. One of my milestone grinds was getting enough woods for a level 50 chest piece, and I hardly see anyone else wearing it. Not having the Mog station requires farming and creativity to stand out. Triple Triad is one of the games on offer at the Gold Saucer, but it extends well beyond those walls. There are 424 cards at the time of writing and free trial players can collect a significant chunk, but not 1 through 312 for the mount. I see it as grinding now, so I can grind a little less once I sub. You will need to beat a few NPCs at the game to earn cards, but there's only a handful of these. The dungeon drops are some of the pissiest cards to get, but with enough time they'll show up. Good luck rolling on it. The same can be said for most slightly rarer drops like orchestra rolls, minions, and the ever-elusive Alamigo mount. Most late-game players collect mounts, glamour, and other completionist lists, but collectible appraisers only want to collect random crap in exchange for scripts. You can craft and gather collectible items to turn in, and you'll need thousands of each type for achievements. Burning crafter and gatherer scripts can be an okay way to replenish low gil, but once you make all the recipes with script-locked materials, you grind this for the achievements, not the profit. Collecting this many blue balls makes me think of old-school Crackdown agility, and some are just as difficult to grab. Vistas and significant points of interest might be in the sightseeing log that covers every region. The ARR log is by far the hardest since some require specific weather conditions and other modifiers. It's a pain even with a guide, but thankfully, the log gets easier with each expansion. Just use a map and flight to quickly burn through. There is a good chance most true new sprouts have yet to learn what the hunt is, and how long it takes to finish. Killing 5,000 creatures doesn't sound too bad, but the time-limited spawns mean this journey takes years and requires third-party communication tools. The hunt entails killing rare monsters across every map with 3 tiers of difficulty and rarity. B-rank enemies respawn right after being killed, so you can chase a mark up and down a map for hours to grind. Easy, but very slow progress, as you need 1,000 kills for the final B-rank achievement. A-rank monsters respawn a few hours after each kill, but also sport a higher health pool, meaning only tanks can safely solo them on free trial. However, the comparatively lax respawn time is pretty decent. S-ranks are the hard part. S-ranks require specific conditions to spawn, and some marks take weeks to respawn, so the achievements for several thousand S-rank kills requires years of consistent hunt farming. The only realistic way to progress is to join a hunt Discord server and adjust pings to grab at least every S-rank you can. The hunt community is very friendly and organized, but good company doesn't make marks spawn faster. There are 11 allied societies within the free trial, and each group has a relational reputation to max through daily quests. These are simple, but time-gated with a daily allowance keeping you from rushing through. I was fortunate to complete all the ARR and Heavensward clans before the free trial included Stormblood, so I had plenty of time to focus on Stormblood populations when the trial expanded. These quests are good opportunities to level alt jobs and crafters, but most stories are nothing special, if a bit silly. Grinding every circle of pals to max rank also unlocks glamour items and mounts many people won't bother farming. Improving community reputation also unlocks organization vendors, which can be invaluable without market board access. If you don't want to gather materials yourself, some family merchants can save you time if you don't mind playing around the gil cap. Some exclusive items from association keepers also show up in the Gold Saucer fashion report reasonably frequently, so it's good to have them unlocked if they are not stashed away already. Getting all crafters and gatherers to 70 isn't the hard part. The achievements are what make this a massive resource sink. Gathering achievements are easy, but very tedious without a macro. Gather a few thousand times per Realm Reborn area, per level group, and a few thousand more in each expansion. Sadly, running back and forth between 4 nodes is the best way to make solo progress. It's very simple, but hours of mind-numbing grinding just for achievement luminary tools with stats that make it unusable past level 50. Crafting on free trial is the actual pain. The 300,000 gil cap and lack of market board access means you will throw millions of gil down the drain to craft things you cannot sell to vendors for profit, all in the name of achievements. The Doman Enclave will thank you, and you can get good decent scores across your classes, but say goodbye to ever being gil capped again once you start trying to complete the crafting log. We might as well add 12 weekly custom deliveries to the list for months more grinding. Only a few grinds are time-gated, and leave quests are one of them. 5,000 battle, trades, and field leaves requires almost a decade of consistent, tedious grinding. Blowing through 100 leaves in an evening isn't hard, just very dull, but you can only do so many at once. Leave allowances regenerate slowly and cap at 100, which means you get to chip away at these achievements over several years. To make matters worse, the 500 leaves per Grand Company progression don't count towards the big 5K achievements. I am nowhere near any of the 5K achievements, and I'm roughly halfway through the Grand Company leaves, but I am approaching the honest Jillionaire on free trial, which makes me sad in a different way. Grand Companies are a largely forgotten system, but still contain some long-term grinds you can do on free trial. Turning in Grand Company deliveries for a few months straight will drain your pockets and earn achievements, but company seals aren't worthless. Some relics require seals for materials, and loot boxes can drop some rare minions or mounts for the ultra-lucky. Building a squad of Grand Company recruit NPCs is easy, but running 100 missions with them for an achievement is a test of patience and babysitting the stupid AI. Build Warrior so you can basically solo it and let the AIs try to keep up. This is also a good way to farm dungeons with desired drops, but it is a limited selection. Deep Dungeons is unlike any other content system. The free trial gives you access to two variants, Palace of the Dead and Heaven on High. One goes down forever and the other goes up forever. Typically, groups clear the various floors while dodging traps and hopefully collecting treasure, but you can also solo this content for rare achievements and titles. The Necromancer and Lone Hero titles aren't exactly rare, as I see them go past often, but also wielding a sprout icon is an extra level of achievement. A single run from floor 1 to 100 solo can take hours and end in yet another death. I burned out on Necromancer attempts, but I will return to it when I burn out on a different grind. Deep Dungeons are also perfect for odd hours or slow days since it's just you. There are 6 tank mounts available on free trial, and the grind isn't too bad, even if it's repetitive. Paladin, Warrior, and Dark Knight have 2 mounts each. Progressing means clearing high-level duties, meaning any dungeon level 61 and above, EX trials and Savage raids at 61 or above, your daily bonus leveling, and 50, 60, 70, 80 roulettes. 200 clears per job gets you the first mount, and 300 clears gets you the second. Thankfully, there is usually a party finder group running a farm most days, but prepare to spend hours. If you need more than that, there are title achievements at 700 clears per job. Have fun. Being unable to make your own party nor solo unsync gold content means you are limited by what other people add to Party Finder. Typically, Duty Finder is enough for normal mode trials and raids, with coils being the exception, but Party Finder is the best bet for any extreme or savage content. Explore Discords to find groups willing to help with specific content, but knowing the prime hours for Party Finders is the fastest way to clear everything. Some groups sync, and some unsync. Always check the party rules before joining. Most people are willing to teach or help, but I always follow a guide for synced runs. Trials and raids drop gear, minions, mounts, and achievements, but it will take longer to get through the whole list on free trial since this is considered pretty old and unpopular content so many years after release. Each expansion comes with a new set of high-level weapons. While they are no longer best in slot by any means, they are a significant grind you can complete for free. I will discuss each relic according to its designated expansion, because some are certainly worse than others. However, most relics follow a similar pattern: normal material gathering, dumping poetics, farming fates, burning through company seals, multiple dungeon runs, and light farming. This formula doesn't massively change until Stormblood. The Realm Reborn relic process is absolutely brutal on free trial if you don't prepare in advance. Subpayers will say that the books of mobs to kill and dungeons to repeat are the worst part, but not on free trial. We have infinite time, but the materia stage will bring your progress to a screeching halt if you don't stockpile ahead of time. Keep all your low-level materia if you plan to do Realm Reborn relics. Learn from my mistakes. Thankfully, the stats don't matter at this point, so pick a materia you have a lot of and keep levels 1 through 5 ready to shove into your relic of choice. I've only completed one ARR relic because I refused to farm the materia again. With market board access, it becomes a much more reasonable time investment. I have completed 3 Heavensward relics, 1 for each healer. I'm unsure why I made 3. But I made them back when the free trial stopped at 60. This process has a few different flavors of grind, but none of them are onerous roadblocks. It may be rose-tinted glasses, but the Heavensward relics felt super fast and painless after the ARR misery. Maybe it's because it's easier to measure your progress or because there is always a light farm party I can join, but I'll complete the Heavensward relics on a free trial before I ever go back to a Realm Reborn. Stormblood brings changes to the relic formula. If you are watching this video, you will have watched Pint's video about Eureka. 4 zones, 1 final raid, and so many crystals. The early levels in each zone can be a bit scary, and being unable to shout means you rely entirely on other players' callouts. While you can solo most content once you get going, you will 100% need other people to get through the zones. At least you can always do the weekly challenges for some safe solo experience. Keep going through the areas, clear the final raid, get the final upgrade, and hope the lockboxes drop something good. Even among long-term sub-players, few willingly take on the insane Ishgard restoration project. Go on, restore an entire city by hand, you won't. So, if anyone is still watching this, first off, why and how, but also thank you. I like the idea of content creation, but have no idea if anyone would listen to what I have to say. Who knows what is next? Sub if you want, I'm getting pizza.